So, Suzanne, tell me about why you care about Quaker Ridge Camp.
Okay, I have had Quaker Ridge Camp in my life since I was about 7. That's my first encounter when I got to go there for camp. My parents let us go to summer camp there, and that was my introduction to camp. And I loved my experiences that I had there. I think it kind of grounded me for opportunities to encounter spiritual kinds of things. There was Bible teaching, there was a chapel, not the same chapel that's there now, but we had chapel and had a speaker and all of those kinds of things. And it was something that I had never done before, and I wanted to go back. And then I wanted to go back again. And I went to camp every year from the time I was 7 until I graduated from high school as a camper. Then after that, I went as a counselor for several years kind of in between. And I changed from counseling for junior camp to high school camp, and we went to family camps as a family. They used to have winter camp up there. And I remember Amy, our daughter, she was only a few weeks old when we went up for winter camp one year. So now my family is involved in camp as well. But for me, it was a foundation. For me, it was a place where I could feel a connection spiritually to feed my soul. And it was a place that became familiar and happy. In walking around camp, going different directions and experiencing different places on the camp, just made my heart happy. And so it's a place I love to go to.
So, are you still involved with camp?
I am still involved with camp.
And when I say camp, I mean camp, the campus, but also any camping programs or anything else? Or retreats?
Yes, I am still involved with camp. I've done work projects at camp. I've done high school counseling, high school camp. I've done women's retreat at camp. So I have stayed continually involved with camp, in the support of the camp and in the taking from the camp. I guess I would call it taking from the camp what it has to offer as far as spiritual kinds of things and opportunities to meet up with friends and people that I've known over the years, plus meeting up with God.
So you say spiritual, but I mean, really, what is it that you found and has grown in you? Let's nail this down and be really specific. What is it that you found that you are hoping others find?
What I found at camp was Jesus, and that's what I'm hoping other people will find through even work projects, retreats, the youth camps. Any of those things is an opportunity to meet Jesus. And that's my hope for all of those things that are happening there, that there will be an encounter that they will have a life-changing experience as far as meeting Jesus.
So this is pretty important work.
It is.
But it's also a lot of fun too.
Absolutely.
What were the dorms like when you first went? Which cabins did you stay in?
When I first went, there was Margaret Fell, which was the girls' dormitory, because it was a wide open space up top, and bunk beds were lined all against where on both sides and then down the middle as well. So that's where the girls stayed, and you wanted to be like one of the first groups that got there because you had your own little personal corner there marked off where you were going to stay. And then the boys had two cabins. They're called Pen and
Is it Fox and Pen?
Fox and Pen, yeah. They're called Fox and Pen. They were just up the hill a little ways. Plus, there's one other one that's over on the hillside that I think the boys used as well. But the girls stayed in Margaret Fell. So there was Margaret Fell, a couple cabins for the boys. There was Barkley, which is another cabin. And then there were a couple older ones that have been torn down where Clark is now. And then there was a shower house down the hill from Margaret Fell, just south of there a little ways, south and east of there a little ways. I think part of it is still there because the boys' end of the shower house was on the south side, the girls' end of the shower house was on the north side, and the boiler was in between where the water got hot. And then there was an outhouse up on the hill from Margaret Fell east and north a little bit, and the stairs are still there. So if you're curious about that, go look for those stairs. Those were the stairs to the outhouse for the girls. And the boys had an outhouse up on the west side and south a little from Margaret Fell. So, yep, that was it.
So accommodations have changed a bit.
Just a bit.
So, what are you hoping to see for the future of Quaker Ridge?
So, one of the things that I think is one of my pushes for Quaker Ridge would be some housing for the summer staff that comes and helps for that youth or those people that come to work in the summer. And then hopefully that could also be used during other times, maybe for families. I'm hoping for some family type housing or opportunities to come for camping, for people to bring families for family reunions or maybe a graduation party or
a nice retreat.
A nice retreat for them, or for just kind of more family kind of places for. And then those could hopefully those could also be rented out, like the staff one, when the staff isn't there during winter, probably some of those could be rented out. But anyway, something for families maybe to come camping and have like a little unit that would be theirs, that maybe even they could cook in and do those kinds of things, like a small kitchenette or something. But yeah,
so
like tiny homes, little tiny home village.
A retirement? No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would. Okay, that would work for me.
So, I won't put you on the spot and ask you how long you've been going, but it's been a while.
Yes, it has.
Most of your life.
Yeah.
And I would say probably the same for me. I think there's 5 years I can count where I did not make it up to camp at all.
Yeah.
So, any other last admonitions about camp that you would like to add to this?
It's a good place to go if you want to do some soul searching for yourself. You can. It's absolutely perfectly okay to hike off to a spot and spend some time with God yourself. It's absolutely a wonderful place to go and spend time with other people who are worshiping the Lord. And it's a great place to go with your kids, who I always felt like my kids were absolutely safe there. And they could go play and do their thing, and I could be with friends doing my thing and not have to worry about, traffic or other people or any of those kinds of things. And that's what I liked about camp, or what I like about camp. There have been weddings there in the chapel now since the regular chapel got built, because when we first camped when I was little, the chapel was in where the dining hall is. We ate there and we had chapel there. And then they put up some tents kind of down in the meadow a little south of there for classes and stuff. Okay. And our recreation was go for a hike to the miners' cabin, go for a hike up Soldiers Mountain, go for a hike down the Trail of Silence, repeat, go for a hike, and another one up Soldiers. And it was a lot of just hiking and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. We did play games and stuff too, but there weren't all the other things that kids get to do now. And
So speaking of kids, I bet you would have to take your shoes off too to count on your hands and your feet how many lifelong friendships you have formed just from attending camp in all these different capacities.
right. And they're not necessarily people I see all the time, but they are people that I can see again and pick up kind of where we left off without missing a beat.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I love about camp too. People came from Nebraska, people came from Kansas, people came from all over in Colorado,
Mexico.
and yes, and we've had people from California come and attend our camps because grandparents want their kids to come to camp.
Yep.
And that's the beauty of it. That's the thing I just love too. And kids will invite their friends, and that's the thing I love about camp. It's the best place to just unplug from the rest of the world and just have a great time knowing people and knowing God.
Awesome. So faith, family, and fun,
Yep,
and above all, Jesus.
absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
A real relationship with a best friend, and that would be Jesus.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.